Wow, guys, so this is turning into quite an epic conflict here between these two great players. This Protoss versus Zerg is going straight to the end game, and we're seeing units that we hardly ever see, unit combinations. An Archon Reaver, Dark Archon Force coming up, and Savior with Ultralisk, Defilers, mass Zergling Lurker Force. Just a crazy battle here. And now a big fight in the middle here, and Savior needs to take down these Archons, or else they're going to threaten his 330 position once again here. And Savior with a lot of Ultralisk getting a three-way attack here, but Naura holds, actually. Naura's Archons are just so powerful in mass. Their mass splash damage just taking out all those Ultralisks. And now Savior's in big trouble again. The 330 position is going to go down now. And Savior just can't afford the loss of this mineral patches and all these drones, because this game is going into mineral exhaustion, guys. This map will be mined out fairly soon, and despite all the expansions on this two-player map, I think there's just one or two bases that are still healthy left for each player. And once those are gone, it's going to be, both players are going to have to rely on what's left. And Archons are quite durable, I have to say, because they do recharge fairly quickly. And Protoss units, I mean, they just are so good at the end game if it really comes down to it. Dark Archon out now among the force here. I'm expecting Maelstrom to come out. Nothing else would really make any sense, I guess. Mind control Ultralisks. Yeah, that's not going to happen probably. But Maelstrom would be quite effective against an incoming attack. And there's that famous picture of Naura. I don't know who he's supposed to be in that picture, if he's supposed to be some historical figure or not, because I did see that in one of those hype videos between these two players. In any case, Naura now moving in again to attack the natural expansion of Savior, and he's going to take down a lot of these hatcheries. Savior, I think, down on mining from one base at the 9 o'clock position. Play goes off on those Archons, but that's the least effective target. And Savior unable to kill the shuttle with the Scourge there, and Savior just down to defending with Hydralisks here. And I think Naura might take this game right here now. Because Savior just doesn't have the minerals left to build a lot of Ultralisks, or to build any units to deal with this large force combo here. And Savior with just about a dozen Hydralisks and a pair of Ultralisks here to defend the rest of his hatcheries. And Savior needs to pull something off amazing here, because those Reavers and those Archons are just going to rip through his force here. Looks like he's still building Zerglings. I feel that Zerglings are actually not so cost effective against Archons, even though they are fully upgraded, even though they are crack upgraded. Just Archons and Reavers just eat them up so much, and Zerglings aren't durable. If this game's going to go to mineral exhaustion, you really need some durable units that just don't die so easily. And Zerg really is at a disadvantage because none of their units are that durable. I can think of two options, Guardians and Ultralisks, that Savior can do with his remaining resources. Zerglings just won't work, and it looks like he has Naura probably just going to finish off this. No, it looks like he's not. But Savior actually intercepting with Scourge here. He might be able to pick off the shuttle if he... But Savior not microing those Scourge. That's really unfortunate for him, because he's not going to get that shuttle. That shuttle probably had at least one or two Reavers in there. And now Naura loading up with some High Templar, actually. He might be doing a Storm Drop on one of the remaining patches of minerals here. Excuse me. And Savior, I think, is down to one mining hatchery at the 9 o'clock position. Yeah, I think that's all he's down to. But Naura probably just down to one, too. And a shuttle getting taken down. I'm not sure what it contained. Or if that was... actually, I'm not sure. The observer didn't really make it clear. It might have been just an observer. Observer. Yeah, shuttle now moving southward. That Overlord is going to spot it. Looks like it's going to load up with a couple of Reavers here. No, it's not. It's just loading up some High Templar, actually. So probably just going to use that to ship his High Templar around for storms. And a lot of Archons still up for Naura. Naura, just those Archons will be able to regenerate their shields, and they're just so hard to destroy when they're masked by a Zerg player. Really, I mean, Guardians could work, I guess. Ultralisks could work, and mass Hydralisks. You know, I'm not a pro Zerg player at all, so if you guys have any better suggestions for what Savior could be doing now, let me know. Let everyone know. Because Savior is just, I feel like it's in big trouble. It's just a matter of Naura making more durable units, and even though Naura is probably almost mined out himself, his units are just going to last longer, and he can just carefully destroy Savior's bases. And now Naura going for another drop now at this expansion at the 9 o'clock. Looks like, though, Savior has so many sunkens there that anything that's dropped is going to be a kill. But there is a hole there at the south part of the base, and Naura's going to drop some storm, do a storm drop now, and actually missing all the drones because Savior cleverly moved them out of the way, but just saving those High Templar also. And Savior loading up those Hydralisk into the Overlord to prevent them from getting killed by the Storm. Now both players have to be careful with their units, really careful, because they're probably going to be the final units they can produce. Both players are just going to be exhausted for resources soon. I think it's just going to be up to Nara to effect another attack and win here. And Nara building a Nexus now at one of the few remaining patches, which he just liberated, the 330 position. And Nara is completely mined out, I think, at every other base. So Nara is desperately counting on these resources also. Savior looks like, once again, he's just stymied by this map. There's been just 2 times so far where the map, one time there was this huge battle when he just got his Ultralisks out, when his Ultralisks were trapped by that narrow footbridge in the middle. It's quite unfortunate for Savior, and now his Hydralisks are getting trapped by the middle block there, unfortunately. Savior with a couple of Zerglings, I think, just doing more scouting than anything. And 4 Reavers on that ridge there are just going to prevent any ground forces from getting up, really. And Savior still with those Hydras trapped. I don't know if he notices. Still a massive force of Archons. And, Nara's probably close to getting maxed out anyway. And he just really, all he has to do is keep some of that force alive and just tear apart whatever Savior's forces have. And Zerg, of course, depends on disposable forces, depends on having more resources than the enemy and swarming them. And you can't swarm in the late game against a Protoss or a Terran if they just get durable units. And we saw this Savior versus Firebat Hero, which you can see under Clazzard's commentary. I do refer to that, where Firebat Hero got shut down to 1 base, basically, and it wasn't even his main, he lost his main, but he managed to just bunker in and build battle cruisers, and Savior was mined out in the rest of the map and just couldn't do anything about it, unfortunately. Zerg does have a disadvantage at the very, very late game against Protoss and Terran, unfortunately for them. And I don't see how Savior is going to come back now. This was an epic game, but Savior really just has no forces left here. Nara, maybe Savior is just waiting for Nara to attack and perhaps make a mistake and lose his army, because Nara only has 1 army also. Obviously, he really can't reproduce his army. That army is quite expensive also. I mean, just look at all those Archons. But those Photon Cannons also now are going to come into play quite well, because they're just going to be quite cost effective now in the late game. And Savior just building up Ultralisk. He does have about a dozen Ultralisks left, but a dozen Ultralisks does not defeat a dozen Archons, especially with those Reaver support. And Savior does, I think he's going for a final drop here. And actually, Savior loading up. I think he's going to go for a Doom drop here with his remaining forces, just not bothering to engage Nara's force face on. He might be going just for the gateways or something, going for the production, or going for, I don't even know what, because there's only 1 producing base, and he's not going to go for Nara's army. I think he realizes he can't defeat Nara's army in the field anymore. It's just so huge, but Savior, huge force of Ultras. This is Savior's last gasp here. And now Savior going for an attack actually on the left side here, perhaps sensing that Nara, knowing that Nara's forces are on the right side. And Nara is actually going to ignore this, so Savior is going to be able to go and attack up there, but there's just a ton of Photon Cannons. Savior really needs to put in a couple of yeah, it's an annoying phone call. Savior needs to put in a couple of Dark Swarm to deal with this. And, yeah, Savior, just huge force of Ultras. I'm pretty sure Savior's maxed out, too, but a maxed out Zerg army is no match for a maxed out Protoss army, unfortunately. Yeah, Savior just producing Ultralisks only, and then, and this is going to come down to one epic confrontation, I feel. Now with the Defiler going up, but I think he's given enough time for Nauro. No,